guys, welcome back to Full Circle with Joyce, and we're jumping straight into our viewpoint discussion. But before I do, I wanted to let you guys know about something. There's a website or a platform called Aladdin, okay? And they're actually offering a 90% discount when you shop of their clothing or groceries online. And as our dear audience here on Switch TV, they're giving an extra discount of 200 bob when you use the coupon code SWH200. That's SWH200. Your goods will be delivered within 48 hours of request. So let's get shopping with Aladdin, all right? And I'll be reminding you of that a bit later on in the show. But for right now, let me introduce my first guest for the day. Here with me, I have Jack Wasonga, Operations Manager at KD Entertainment.
KJ Entertainment.
Yeah, and Jamlik Kogi, who's the founder. Karibuni sana to the show.
Asante sana,
Good to have you both here. Now, I have to say, you're very dapper dressed comedians.
Thanks.
Our first impression wouldn't be to think that you guys are comedians or in the entertainment, you know, like as funny guys. But you're actually an MC as well.
Yes.
How long have you been doing that for?
Well, over a decade. I began this when I was still at the University of Nairobi, School of Business. By getting a platform, even in the Christian Union.
Yeah.
I remember actually when we were about to graduate, we had the Elders Night, the night before, and I requested the Christian Union management if I could MC that night before we leave campus.
Okay.
And towards morning, all my classmates were telling me, MC Kogi, when you go to look for jobs there, don't look for one. You are a great MC.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you decided to put your business degree aside, or you still completed it, but now you're running an entertainment business?
Actually, I first pursued, I joined the corporate world.
Okay.
I first worked with KPMG East Africa as an intern auditor, moved to another company for another year. And then finally I found, I discovered that I'll find more fulfillment in my passion and talent.
All right.
Now,
good for you.
Yes.
Good for you. Na mwenye amekushonea hii jacket lazima tupate hii namba yake.
Tutasambazia.
Hiyo namba lazima tupate. But Jack, tell us about how you got involved in all of this. What's your background?
So my background's in IT. We met with Jamlik a long time ago. Just immediately after high school. And by then I was working for an IT firm. And so he invited me to one of his events. And thereafter, that's how we blended. I'm also a corporate MC myself.
Okay.
And one thing led to another, and today we're here.
All right.
Yes.
All right. So KJ Entertainment plans to stage a unique monthly comedy and talent show dubbed Kogi Live Show, which is aiming to provide a platform to upcoming comedians and other talents such as spoken word, poets, dancers, models, musicians, and other unique talents. They have also been investing in their artists through capacity building and developing of talents in their talent academy. You know, so from going to you guys just doing it on your own, why do you feel the need to now invest in other upcoming comedians and artists?
Well, Joyce, I would say a life of legacy is the best life ever to live. So we are moved, and personally as MC Kogi, my philosophy in life is empowering the nation one person at a time. So the most important and, or rather the driver to this is touching a life out there, because some of us are here today because someone discovered us. Some of us were discovered when in campus, in a church forum. So there are so many talents out there that have not been given that platform. Many shows out there, they are keen on giving platforms the already existing big names. But we are bridging that gap to go out there and through events, through our forums when we have auditions, to go and find that upcoming talented young man or woman, to give them that exposure so that they can discover who they are and live to their fulfillment.
Yeah. Do you think the Kenyan environment is as open to people, I guess, establishing and living creative careers?
Absolutely it is. Why do I say that? Because, I mean, if it wasn't, none of us would be here to begin with. But the only big question is the how, which is most part of what the youth go through. We do not know how to connect the dots. We have the talent, yes, most of them have the talent, but moving from point A to B the in-between technical know-how is what is actually missing. And so together, Koglik and a few team members, we put it together, and that is what we structure to giving these young men and women moving on. Yes.
All right. So just yesterday, I think it was, we were talking about youth and unemployment, and really trying to figure out, what are some of the ways in which young people can find productive things to do, find perhaps new sources of income. So talk to us about turning your perhaps hobby into a career as another way of us trying to reduce the number of people who are just either sitting at home idle or haven't maybe even figured out which direction they want to take in life. So let's talk about that now, turning our hobbies and our passions into careers.
Amazing. For me, I actually remember my mother says I was born talking, but that's not what I studied in school. I'm BCom marketing, CP on the side, and a diploma in IT. However, after a few years in the corporate world, and through experience getting a platform, I'm passionate about speaking, doing mentorship. I've been doing that for over 10 years. Then I noted, from the time I was being discovered as a storyteller with Story Moja, later on I noted that my stories have a comical background, and I firmly made a decision to try here and there audition for a comedy show, and which came through, and I was successful and performed on various platforms. But moving forward, I've been able, now today, I really live my passion, my hobbies, that is speaking, emceeing, being a comedian. So it is something that can be done. It's important to go to school, but also if there is that talent and hobby that can be monetized, I'm a living example doing that currently.
Okay, Jack, what are your thoughts on this?
So what I believe in is everybody has something to offer, first and foremost. And number two, do not shy away from pushing yourself to the next level. And what I mean by that is most of us shy away when it becomes too challenging, when the curve gets steeper, all right? So in regards to talent, volunteer as much as you can. Any given opportunity, you just never know when. Somebody's always watching. The best way of living is get paid for what you enjoy doing. Yes.
It's interesting that you've used that word volunteer, and I don't know, because even just yesterday that was the focus of a lot of our discussions.
Correct.
Where my guests were encouraging those who are watching to actually volunteer their time.
Correct.
And not even expect payment.
Absolutely.
As they're seeking out employment. Does the same apply in the creative arts industry? A while ago we saw a campaign on Twitter concerning models who were complaining about not being paid. Right? So this is a skill that you're putting out there, your craft. Do you feel that that still applies? Do you still stand by that statement?
Absolutely, yes. Some things I don't think they'll ever change to begin with. So why volunteer is because it's about enhancing and sharpening your skills. You already in the media industry, for example. If I was to come and want to take probably the space about full circle, what Joyce is doing, it will take me a minute, and the only best way to know what you do is to work closely with you, so that then I get to know and learn how things are done. We were born not walking. We start by crawling. Until a point you realize I can actually walk, and you need somebody to help you, and that's part of the volunteering process, because you need to be coached. Yeah, and we are so many out here. It takes a lot of courage, it takes a lot of patience before you get to what you want to be. And for example, we talk about Churchill most of the time. Where he is today, and I know he did most of the shows, so free of charge, and so is most of the musicians or any other artist, because it's fully crowded. And for you to be noticed and known, including Diamond, even shows I understand in West Africa, he used to introduce, can you believe it, our own musicians right here. And today you cannot compare the two worlds apart. So volunteering is one of the things that you have to be really kind about and take it with a lot of kindness. Why? Because in the process you get to build relationship. Number two, as you build that relationship, you get to be taught on how to do about it or go about it. Number three, then you mold yourself on who you want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jamlik, do you agree with that as the founder of this organization? The specific instance is that it was it Pay Kenyan Models or something like that on Twitter. There was a huge, a lot of discussion around that, and that was specifically around modeling. Do you agree with what Jack is saying here?
Totally, absolutely, 100%. In that the challenge with many of our young people is they want things to happen here and now. Like if it's walking, we want to walk fast. If it's eating, we want to eat fast foods. If it's drinking coffee, we want instant coffee. Even when it comes to movies, you want to watch that Fast and Furious. So it has taken me exactly 10 years since 2009 to really be mentored, to grow and feel that now I can comfortably with my co-host host a Kogi Live show. So it takes patience and being under mentorship to learn, because you cannot be given the big platform on day one. So I totally agree with that.
Just before you move on,
Yeah.
a quick question is, anywhere in the world, whatever it is you studied, after school, the first thing you do is look for attachment, or probably apply for one, correct? The question is, why do people do that? Why do you seek for attachment? So you seek for a place where you can learn, and possibly in the process of learning, apply what you've been taught, so practicals. So volunteering is part of that practicals. And I remember when we were younger, we used to leave school and the teachers would, encourage us, look for an institution next to you and volunteer, giving you time. You end up becoming better than you thought. It's never hit and run. It's never done that way. At least, I'm here to meet one.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, if you're just joining us, I'm talking with these two gentlemen here who have turned their passions, their hobbies, their skills into their own business and their livelihoods. And that's the question that I'm posing to you today. What is it that you have? What are you passionate about? What would you love to turn, which of your hobbies, perhaps I should say, would you love to turn into a career? Do you think it's possible? Do you feel that that's something you can live off of? I know there's a lot of pressure from our families too, concerning, how or which career we take. And I don't know if you guys had any such experience, from your family, sort of. I mean, you were at KPMG, that's a huge company. You were an auditor, an internal auditor. Correct. And having gone and done your BA, were your family just like, what's wrong with you?
Correct. Yes, up to now, like my dear mom keeps struggling. Hey, why are you not in an 8 to 5 job? So we have been coined, or rather conditioned to think in a particular way. You have to go to high school. After high school, you go to college, you go to university, then go to your dream job, which is okay. But not all of us can work with government. Not all of us can be in Media Joyce. Not all of us can be the private sector. You got to find what your purpose is, which I basically highlight in the first chapter of my first book. You really discover what you are born to do and pursue it without apologies.
Yeah.
Yes, so that you can live a fulfilled life and enjoy what you do.
Talk to us, both of you, before we go on break, about pursuing it without apology, because the truth is it's hard. Like, we don't want to sugarcoat it. Just because you're passionate about it doesn't mean that, it's always going to, like you're always on the mountain. It's taken you 10 years to get to this point. I'm sure within there you've faced a lot of valleys and deep lows. How do you keep going? Particularly when it's one of those things, like you're saying, initially your family doesn't support it or didn't understand it. I think it's a lot easier to jump into something when you have like a crowd cheering you on. Correct. But if even them, they're like, "Ay, sasa wewe enyewe Mungu akubariki, good luck." It's a lot tougher to embark on that journey. And then when things get tough, you completely begin to second guess your choices at the very beginning of even stepping into this, but even whether you're actually talented or gifted in this thing. And I really want us to address that right now. We can start with you, Jack.
Great. So without apology, so I'll tell you what, just like Jamlik said, none of us, or not all of us, can be, in media, for instance. And in this life, it is absolutely your own. Pops and mom did the bit to bring you here, all right? Taking you to school, it's upon you, incumbent upon you to figure out the rest. How you do that or how you choose to do that is exactly upon you. So what Wasonga is going to say or Jamlik is going to say does not matter regardless. It could be opinion or point of correction for you to learn from, but it should not be a subject of you have to go by what they say. And why do I say that? I don't know what you studied, Joyce. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if I may ask what it is that you studied.
Economics and international
Economics and international development. Today you're here. People love you for what you do. You have a skill, you have a talent, media. You know what I mean? It's never, we can never be the same. However much you came from the same, basket, we talk about eggs, or from the same womb, for example. And any young man listening, or woman out there, the encouragement is when it gets tougher, that's when you know you're just about to get there. So you have to dig into the last reserve of your oil, because it's about grit, and this is why we miss it. All right, because when the steep is a bit sharp, then we turn back and want to look, oh, what's happening, the view down there. But that's where you form, you know what I mean? So the distance from where you form and compared to where you're going to, it can never be the same. That was a starting point. This is where you are, and you need to get somewhere. So all this hardship that we keep talking about as hard, to me it's not hard. These are lessons to make us better.
Okay.
And it's only through those hard lessons. I mean, if it wasn't hard, how would life be? It would be boring, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It reminds me of a quote, one that I really love, that says, if it wasn't for the struggle, you wouldn't have the strength.
Absolutely.
Same way in the gym, unless you're like lifting the challenge,
Yes.
unless you're challenging your body, you won't actually build the strength. Jamlik, maybe as you touch on your own example before we go back onto the break, maybe you can recall some of the difficult moments that you've been through in this last 10 years and how you've been able to overcome that in a way that would hopefully help our audience members as well.
Indeed, Joyce, the journey hasn't been easy. It has been tough, so to speak, because as an upcoming artist, the basic thing you need is exposure and a platform. And many organizations out there and individuals, they want to engage someone who already has a big name and already established, so that perhaps they are referred by their friends, so they are known. So for someone who is upcoming, they find it very, very tough. And I went through that journey, even sometimes almost offering to do an event for free, just for people to note my work.
Yeah.
I remember when I was emceeing weddings, my first wedding was paid 5,000 Kenya shillings.
For a wedding.
Yes.
That's like a whole day of jumping around and screaming.
Imagine. But from there, someone in the audience say, hey, I like your work.
Yeah.
Next time you pay 10,000. At that time, 25, 50,000, and so on
Yeah.
and so forth. But you see, it's a journey of being very patient
Yeah.
and persistent. Sometimes,
And willing to start like at the bottom.
yes,
Yeah.
and willing to be held by someone who is more experienced to show you the ropes. Yes.
Absolutely. Well, great. When we come back, we're going to continue this discussion. I do see a lot of questions coming in from you guys as far as, how people can be mentored with their talents. And maybe that's a good discussion point to have, how do you identify the right mentor for talent? Should it be someone also within the industry, or should it be someone with a specific skill set that you're looking to build? So you could be a comedian, but maybe you need to be mentored on how to to run a business and how to run yourself as a brand. We're going to be talking a bit about that even as I go through your SMSs and your feedback coming in. This and so much more, so keep them coming in to 22999, and also comment on our Facebook page at Switch TV Kenya. We'll be back shortly. All right, everyone, welcome back to Full Circle with Joyce. And I'm here with my guests who are exploring their talents and actually living out their talents as their careers. And it's a great discussion here with Jack Wasonga and Jamlik Kogi from KJ Entertainment. As I did mention in the beginning, they actually plan to stage a monthly comedy and talent show dubbed Kogi Live Show. And they're also hoping to provide a platform for upcoming comedians and other talents such as spoken word, dancers, models, musicians, and more. And there's a few questions that we've had coming in, so we're gonna go through those right now. Good morning, Joyce. Caroline tuned in from Juja. My favorite day, Mazee, I can't miss it, whatever. What? Asante sana for that, Caroline. Good to have you watching us. I also have hello Joyce, looking good as always, thank you. And you say I take this opportunity to just to appreciate you for the good work you're doing. You've been watching the show without missing and you've learned a lot. Asante sana. You don't leave me your name though or where you're watching us from, but thank you very much for your feedback there. Hey Joyce, looking smart as usual. Your show really inspires and you're proud of this show. That's Cynthia watching us from Ruaka, Asante Pia. Good morning Joyce, loving the show from Mombasa. The guests are doing a good job supporting new talents and not everyone gives back like they're doing. May God bless them. That's Irene Kendi watching us from Mombasa. Someone here says, kindly ask the guests how they recruit talent, individuals and the training process that they offer. So maybe Jack, you can talk about that.
Great. So what happens is we have auditions on a monthly basis, just about or before the shows, and we have a creative director who manages that. So they come in and they showcase the talent, and we have a panel of creative directors who then listens to what they have to, offer or give, and then through that they're fine-tuned. You know what I mean? So that's how we pick our talent, so to speak. Yes, and also sometimes when you're having one-on-one, when you're just talking, meeting, you have this. Can you come over to the show? Can you come over to whatever it is we're doing? And through that, it's been very successful, and so far we're very grateful for the process.
Okay, so for someone who wants to take part, is there a fee or anything that's charged for them to take part in these auditions?
Absolutely not. It's 100% free, and everybody is welcome, regardless of age. And I'll tell you what, the previous one we had young men and women as young as 7 years old, 9 and 12 years old, who came audition and did perform.
Oh, okay.
So it is absolutely free. If somebody is charging you for auditions, then you better ask yourself why, or think twice about it.
Okay.
Talent should never be charged. You, the one, should be charging people, for your talent.
All right. And where do these auditions take place?
So regardless, depending on where we're going to have the show. So most of the time, they happen Kenya National Theatre.
Okay.
We've had that twice now in a row. And for the next one, it's going to be sometime in October. We'll definitely update them when through our social media platforms. We'll share you later.
Okay, we'll be sharing those at the end of the show.
Yes.
But you also have a project called Starehe at 60. What is that about?
Joyce, if I may say, I'm an old boy of Starehe.
Okay.
So Starehe at 60 is this year 2019. Starehe Boys Center is celebrating 60 years. So there are many.
My granddad used to work at Starehe Boys Center.
Wow.
Makes the two of us.
Yeah, as the accountant.
Okay.
Okay.
So there are many activities lined up to celebrate this milestone of Starehe achieving 60 years. There was a chairman's walk, chairman of the Old Starehe Society.
Yeah.
We just had a medical camp to offer those free services to the community around Karioko. Esther Pasaris was there among other dignitaries to give back, and you and I know that 70% of students at Starehe are fully sponsored. I'm a beneficiary of that program. So most of the Starehe at 60 events have a fundraising background so that to raise funds. So for us as KJ Entertainment and as an old boy of the school, I asked myself, how can I use my talent, my event planning skills to put together an event that will give Kenyans value by buying tickets and through corporate sponsorships, and at the end of the day, all proceeds go to Starehe, to what we call GMET, Griffin Memorial Endowment Trust, that the fund that supports Starehe girls and boys.
All right. And actually, even for your own events, even if they're charged, is it that 20% of your own profits go to educational needs somewhere?
Correct.
So you're also giving back through your own project?
Correct.
Okay.
But for the Starehe at 6 are a bit different.
Yeah.
So as just to sort what you just said, so when we met sometime in March this year, we had that conversation on how we can give back to the school that's given a lot out for free. And just like your grandfather was a worker there, probably worked as an accountant. Our paps taught there for a very long time. So indirectly, we also benefited from Starehe Boys, all right? From the leadership, and of course, we were all taken to school, thanks to the money from Story Boys. And so it was that personal. But why do I say Story at 60 was different is because all the proceeds, the fundraising we did, went directly to the school.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's move on and look at some other questions here. Musumba Marilyn, blessed, you say you're watching the show from Embakasi and it's inspiring for you. Asante sana. Kamau Gitari wa Tumaini, you say, hey Joyce, our parents should be the concrete foundation in discovering and nurturing talent in their children. You're watching us from Tumaini, Nyandarua County. JK Comedies says, these guys are really amazing. They have inspired me. Kindly ask them about making vines and how to go about it. You're watching us from Juja. And another question or comment here by Mercy Ogola. You say, good morning, Joyce. About the topic, it's good for parents to appreciate and nurture their kids' talent. Like as for me, I want to be an actress. I even searched for a theatre school and it's much cheaper. So I don't know why my dad doesn't want me to. And you're tuned in from Utawala. Certainly a few questions here on the role of parents again. And this goes back to what we had discussed earlier before the break. Sometimes your family isn't your biggest supporter, even when this is something that you are really passionate about. So for those who are still finding themselves in that mix, how would you advise that they navigate through this situation? Is there a way that you were sort of able to talk to your parents that you, when you look back now, you're like, hey, Nyerapo, I probably shouldn't have done it that way? Or are there things that you kind of wish maybe you explained better to them or gave them a different opportunity, a different perspective to actually see what you're about? How would you help out such a viewer?
I would say the most important aspect is to make yourself understood. So for the parents, it's important to provide the guidance, and then you break it down to them why you want to pursue a certain area of interest. For me, it wasn't easy, as earlier mentioned, because my family, my nuclear family, knew me as someone in the corporate world with KPMG, someone in an 8-to-5 job. But with the time when I really discovered that my interest is into speaking, emceeing, and comedy, it was quite tough for them to really appreciate. But for the parents out there, my encouragement, I would urge you to provide the guidance, but do not dictate to the child on what he or she should pursue. Learn to understand them and support them. Yes.
All right. So just as we wrap up, tell us a bit about how the actual show goes down. What can people look forward to in it? Maybe there are those who want to come in addition, but even those who just want to come and watch and support. What are some of the things that they can look forward to there?
Everybody's welcome. This greatness, that's what they should expect. A lot of greatness and young, amazing talent from all over the country, from whichever walks of lives. How they can plug in is through social media platforms, which is at Cage Entertainment, all right? And then there's Kogi Show as well. They can find us there. And we'll be at Kenya National Theatre this coming Friday from 6 p.m. Everybody is welcome. It's an easy day after work. Why shouldn't you be there?
Okay.
Yes.
Charges?
Yeah.
1,000 Kenya shillings, that's
Okay.
$10 for VIP,
Okay.
and $5 equivalent of 500 Kenya shillings for regular.
Okay. And
Yes.
this is now a talent show, a comedy show? Which
It's-
one is this?
It's a comedy talent show because we have spoken word artists going to perform, we have musicians, we have comedians, stand-up comedians as well.
All right.
It's a mixture, it's a cocktail of greatness.
All right.
Yes.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, so much for joining me here on Full Circle with Joyce, and all the best to you as you continue with what you're doing, raising upcoming talent. And for those of you who are
Thank
sitting
you.
out there and you have a gifting, don't be afraid to try it out. At least at the end of the day, you don't want to live life in regret. At the end of the day, you should be able to say, you know what, I gave it an effort. And you never know who could be watching or who can confirm that gift and help take you to where you want to go. So step out there. Jump, leap, do it. With that said, we're going to take a break right now. We're going to bring in our couch as we get ready for Relationship Tuesday coming at the top of the hour. And as I did mention today, what we want to talk about is the things you must never tell your spouse. And in addition to that, we'll talk about what to do when you have a workaholic partner. It's going to be a great show. You don't want to miss this. Stay tuned. This is Full Circle with Joyce.